Welcome back to ladensercrotchets. If you're new to this channel, my name is Liz. Kindly subscribe and join the ladensercrotchets family. In this tutorial, we're going to be making this bucket hat. I made this in size large, and I'll be showing you how to make one in size medium, but I'll be giving you the different measurements for the different sizes that you can make. That is from 0 months to size large, or the size of an adult. These are the measurements for my bucket hat, and as you can see, we have the size, the head circumference, the crown, and the height. The head circumference is, you measure the widest part of your head, that is the area around your ears and the forehead. That is your head circumference. So after measuring your head circumference, you'll be able to know the size of the crown that you're going to work, and the size and the height of the bucket hat. So go on, take your head circumference, and then we can get into it. You can take a screenshot of this so that you're able to know the different measurements that you're going to need for the different sizes that you're working. I'll be working a size medium. This flat part right here is the crown, and we measure the height while holding the hat like this. From this point up to the point where the brim begins, that is the height of the hat. I used acrylic medium weight yarn for this bucket hat, and it's not firm enough, and therefore I'll be doubling the medium weight yarn. If you have a chunky yarn, then I would advise that you use the chunky instead of the medium weight. But if you want your hat to have this firmness that I have right here, you can still use the medium weight yarn without doubling it, but I'll be doubling the strands of my medium weight yarn. I'll be mixing these two colors, so I'll use one strand of the purple and one strand of the other shade. Then I'll be using a 5mm crochet hook. You'll need a pair of scissors, a measuring tape, and a darning needle. I'll grab my two strands, and I'll start with a magic circle. This is how I make the magic circle. So just twist your yarn like that, put your hook through that space, and grab the longer part of the yarn like this. Leave a longer tail. Then you have the magic ring, so you're going to chain 2. And the chain 2 is not a stitch. It's just a chain that we'll be making for turning, for when we are turning or when you're starting a new row. We begin placing double crochets into the magic ring. So inside this magic ring, we're going to place 12 double crochets. So yarn over, put your hook through the magic ring, yarn over, grab a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. That is the first double crochet. Then you're going to do the same, do a second double crochet, and do a total of 5. So that's 2, I have my 12 double crochets. So what I'll do is grab this shorter side of the yarn. I left a very long tail, then pull to close up that space. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your hook through the first double crochet that you worked. Then I'll bring this up so that I can work over it. Then yarn over, grab a loop, and pull it through the loop that was on the hook for a slip stitch. And that is the end of round 1. We're going to work round 2, and we begin with 2 chains. And as I work round 2, I'm going to work over this end. We begin into that first stitch, and right there we're going to place 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch, place 2 double crochets. Two double crochets in the stitch that follows. So the third stitch will have 2 double crochets. And then all the stitches all the way around till we get back to the last stitch, we'll get 2 double crochets. At the end of round 2, you should have a total of 24 double crochets. So I'll go on, work my double crochets, 2 of them into every stitch. I'm in the last stitch, and that stitch is going to get the 2 double crochets. Then because I've already worked over this end, I'll just cut whatever remains. I'll cut it off. Then we complete round 2 by doing a slip stitch onto the first double crochet right here. So right there, put your hook through and do a slip stitch. Then chain 2, begin in that first stitch and work 2 double crochets into it. The stitch that follows will get 1 double crochet. That is the second stitch. The third stitch will get 2 double crochets. The fourth will get 1 double crochet. The next one will get 2 double crochets. And then we're going to alternate between 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet into the next, till you go all the way around till you get to the end of round 3. The last stitch should be just 1 double crochet. That's the end of round 3, and we do a slip stitch on top of the first double crochet of that round. Then chain 2 and begin in that stitch, place 2 double crochets into that stitch, that first stitch. The second stitch will get 1 double crochet. The third will get 1 double crochet. The fourth will get 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. The next one will get 1 double crochet, another double crochet into the next stitch. Then the stitch that follows will get 2 double crochets. So in round 4, we are working 2 double crochets, 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1. So the last 2 stitches each get just 1 double crochet. At the end of round 4, do a slip stitch on the first double crochet. We begin round 5, then 2 double crochets in the first stitch. The next 3 stitches, 1 2 and 3, will get just 1 double crochet each. 1 2 and 3. The one that follows will get 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Then the next 3, 1 2 and 3, will each get 1 double crochet. Followed by 2 double crochets in one stitch. Then we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around till we come back to the last stitch. the last 3 stitches of that row should be just 1 double crochet each. Once you come to the end, do a slip stitch to complete round 5, and we're going to measure our crown at this point, see whether we've gotten to whatever measurement we want. So I mentioned that I was working a size medium, and when I measure this, it's almost 7 inches. If I do another round, it's going to be more than 7, and because this is yarn, it's going to stretch out a little bit. So I believe that when this stretches, it will get me to 7 inches, and therefore I'm done with my crown at that point. We begin the main part of the hat now, the extension, to get the height of the hat, and we begin with 2 chains. Then we're going to work in the back loops. So we were working into this stitch right here, but for this row we're going to yarn over and put our hook through the back loop. This is the back loop right here, and do a double crochet, yarn over, put your hook through the back loop of the next stitch, and do a double crochet, do a double crochet in the back loop of the next stitch. And for this row, which is actually a row because after this row we'll start turning, will be 1 double crochet into every stitch, only that we are working in the back loops. So right here, a double crochet, so I'll keep going round till I come back to the last stitch. So this is how the hat will be looking like. It starts to curve in. That's our row 1 of that extension of the hat, chain 2 and turn. So we are turning from this row for a total of, I'll work a total of 7 rows, then I'll be back and we're going to measure, see whether we've gotten the height. So for this row we begin, instead of beginning in this stitch, we'll begin into the second stitch, but then we're going to work a double crochet when you're coming to the end in this first stitch. So as you can see at this point, it looks like we have this stitch and this other stitch, but these two is just 1 stitch. So instead of working right here, I'll just work all the way around, and when I come back to the end, I'll work right here. So now start in the next stitch and do a double crochet, do a double crochet into the next stitch, and a double crochet all the way around. Make sure that your last double crochet is in this stitch right here where the 2 chains are. So right here is where the last stitch goes. Slip stitch to complete row 2, chain 2 and turn your work. To begin row 3, we begin in the next stitch. As usual, we work these as we come to the end, and I'll go on do the 7 rows, but let's see how far we are with the height. So you fold your hat like this in order to take a height measurement, then measure like this. So at this point, at almost 5, I'm going to work till I get to 8 inches. That will be the height of my hat. So this is what I have after 7 rows of the extension of the hat, and I'm just going to measure this to see whether I've gotten my height. And I wanted to get to 8 inches and I'm at 7. But then this stretches, it's going to stretch and it's going to get to 8. You don't want to work a hat that is too deep, so you can try it on your head just to make sure that it fits perfectly before we start working the brim. Now the number of rows that you're going to work will be completely dependent on the hook that you're using and the type of yarn. So you might need to work less or more rows in order to get to your height of the hat. After this, we're going to work on the brim of the hat, and we begin by chaining 2. Now in this row we are not turning, and you need to work on the outer part of the hat. Do not work from the inside, work from the outside. And we're going to work in the front loops. So normally we are working in these 2 loops. Then we have the back loop. We worked the back loop when you are working the extension of the hat, which is this loop right here. But then we're going to be working the front loop, so this loop at this point. And we're going to work in the back loop of each of the stitches. As we do that, we're going to do an increase. Now for the top part of the hat, we increased, and the number of stitches that were in between the 2 double crochets were, let me see, were 3, 1, 2, 3. So for this row, I'm going to work in the first stitch. I'll yarn over and do 2 double crochets into that first stitch. So 1 and 2. Then the next 4 stitches will get just 1 double crochet. Remember, we are working in the front loop. So in the next front loop, place 1 double crochet, then a second one in the next stitch. That's 2. Three and 4. So that means if in this part of the hat your double crochets were 3 at this point, at the end of the, what do you call it, or the end of the crown, if your double crochets were 3 in between the 2 double crochets, you're going to start with 4. If they were 4, you're going to have 5 in between. If they were 6, you're going to have 7. So I'm starting with 4, and then after the 4 double crochets, I'm going to work 2 more single crochet, double crochets into the same stitch. So 2 double crochets, then the next 4 stitches will get just 1 double crochet in the front loop. So those are 4. Then the next stitch will get 2 double crochets into the front loop. 1 and 2. Next we'll have 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Then the next stitch will get 2 double crochets in the front loop. The next 4 stitches will get 1 double crochet each, and repeat this pattern to the end. I'm done with that row, and after that row your hat should start curving upwards like this. And that's the first row of the brim of the hat. Next we're going to chain 2, and for the next row we're going to turn to begin row 2 of the brim, and we begin in the next stitch. Remember, we work this stitch as we come to the end, so we begin in the second stitch with 1 double crochet, and we're just going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around the second row. So we increase in the first row, but then we do not increase in the second one. So just work 1 row of 1 double crochet into every stitch. I'll meet you once I get to the end of row 2 so that we can begin row 3. Row 3 will be an increase row, but will increase differently from the first row. I'm at the end of row 2, so I'll chain 2 and turn to begin row 3. to increase in row 3, I forgot to mention that in row 2 and all the other rows, we are working normally in the normal stitch. We are not working in the front loops. So for the row 3, we begin with an increase in the first stitch. So work 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Then we're going to count backwards. We had 4 double crochets. So then in this row, we're going to have 3 double crochets in between the increase. So the next 3 stitches will get 1 double crochet each. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Then an increase, 2 double crochets into the next stitch. 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. After the 3 stitches, we increase into the next one, 2 double crochets into the same stitch, followed by 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to repeat row 3 like this to the end. Once you get to the end, you'll chain 2 and turn, and we'll work row 4 without an increase. So I'll do row 3 and row 4, and I'll be back once I'm done with the 2 rows so that we can start row 5. So remember that in row 4 there is no increase. Don't increase in row 4, just work 1 double crochet into every stitch. I'm done with row 4, and so we're going to chain 2 to begin row 5. Begin with an increase in the first stitch. Then, like we were counting backwards, in the previous row of increase, I had 3 double crochets in between the increase. So in this one, I'm going to have 2. So 1 and 2. Then next stitch, 2 double crochets. Then 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Two double crochets into the stitch that follows. Then 1 double crochet into the next 2. Then 2 double crochets. So from this point, you know that when you're increasing, if the first row was 3 double crochets or 4 double crochets, the next one will be 3 double crochets. The one that follows will be 2, and I'll do up to the 7th row, and my 7th row will have 1 double crochet between the increases. Now, once you increase, as you come back, you don't increase. So keep going. I'll do row 5, row 6, and then row 7. After row 7, I'll be done with the brim of the hat. After the 5 rows, or after my 5 rows, I feel like my brim is long enough, so I'll just chain 1 and cut off the yarn at that point, and I'm done with my bucket hat. Now remember, the number of rows that you do depend on the size of your hook and the size of your yarn. You might need to do more rows or less. You don't have to do exactly the number of rows that I've done. So I'll just weave in this end that remains. So we're done with the bucket hats, and thank you so much for watching to the end of the tutorial. If you've enjoyed it, kindly leave a like, a comment. If you're not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a tutorial. See you in the next one.